Hello, everybody. My name is TRG. I'm a guy that plays games while being lame. And one of the games that I will talk about today is something that I wish would have been better. I will start this out just like saying that I was a fan of this, but then there was more and more decisions where there wasn't enough time put into this, and it just seemed more and more cash grabby as things went on. And we're gonna go and talk about that later towards the end, but I don't know where to start, so let's just move from the present backwards. Let's talk about Elden Ring Nightreign. And that's, like I said, present backwards. DLC time. Oh boy, where to start with the DLC? The map doesn't make any sense. It's extremely vertical with very little to actually help you do that vertical. Random pits that can instantly kill you, which I don't know what map maker did that. I don't know who thought, yes, giant pit that can instantly kill you. Uh, like the enemies, they're right. But like the loot that you can get from there is so low compared to literally everything else. Like this is why people do shifting earths to get like the crater. It's like that's like the best thing, and it's sad because, and we'll get into that later. But like it's sad because it's like that's the best one. You just get legendary equipment every single time if you're good, and it's like don't want to do that. I don't want to play repetitive the game. I want to have some level of repetition that is the foundation to the game, and then have that be what I interact with and need to interact with. Otherwise, I get screwed. And when the game tells me, no, you can't interact with that piece, I have to use my noodle. But that's not what happened with the DLC. Though, and that was a problem in the base game as well. But this was exacerbated by this map just being absolute crap. It was not good. The next thing was that they said and more and then didn't give you and more. Now I argued with this about like GameTron or the GameTron show about this, and we're gonna have to agree to disagree about this. But he says that they added that at the last second. It's like, well, there has to be something where there was a surprise for that to have them add that. They just didn't do that, so there was a lie there. And then even if you want to say, well, it wasn't advertised, well, the criticism still comes of that. That's a huge missed opportunity. It doesn't take that much to like just import these weapons. Like we see that you can do it relatively quickly with like all these bosses and everything. So, and it is in the same engine, so the like it's going to be difficult like balancing it, but that's where it comes now. And there was regular like patch updates, and there was definitely enough time to like get those weapons in. So they missed that. Then you have the characters. Well, cool. That doesn't really change that much of the balance of the game. And that's another thing. The DLC didn't change that much. It just did the same thing. Like obviously you have new bosses, but it pretty much just did the same thing from the base game. And while that would work in a normal game, when you're doing roguelikes, you do need to shake things up a little bit. You can't just have the game just be like, here's new content that's not actually worth it all that much, and then just be like, nothing else. To show this, I'm going to go and show you Binding of Isaac and Cult of the Lamb. So if you're playing the game with the DLC, it is $54.99. This includes the DLC, and this includes the base game. It's a little bit more expensive if you don't do it. I think it's only like $1. But if you remove this, you can see that the Cult of the Lamb with all the DLCs. Keep in mind these are cosmetics, so you can just remove these. If you just want this is cheaper. It is cheaper for actual content stuff, with stuff that actually changed the game, that gave you new stuff, a whole new weapon. Even though I don't like it, it's still a whole new weapon that has its own move set and its own balancing, how you use it. A bunch of different tarot cards, which are a bunch of different buffs. Like there is so much in this that adds on to the base game that it's not comparable to even like Elden Ring Nightreign. And Binding of Isaac, multiple DLCs, 2 big DLCs, because there was smaller ones called the pluses, but the 2 big DLCs only $50, about the same price. If you just want one DLC, the bundle for it, only $35, and it adds so much over 100 hours of more gameplay, a whole new mode, expanded main story, like a main game with a new final boss, daily runs, online leaderboards, 10 new awesome challenges, 1,000 new room designs, monsterly updated weapon combo system, 120 new items. Oh, look, it updated as well. Alternate soundtrack, tons of new secret transformation. One DLC. Repentance was basically doubled the size of the entire game with like 600 like new things. It's insane how that was there. And keep in mind, they're around the same price of the Elden Ring DLC, and both of these are indie studios that don't have like massive crews. So it's not like, this is like comparing AAA to like people that are running on $2. But yeah, like this, like the DLC was just overall disappointing for the price, the amount of content, and what it did for the game, because it didn't do all that much, and it was just very disappointing by any metric and any standard. Like I said, even if you were to say, well, it didn't say that there were going to be weapons, well, it missed the mark by not having any weapons. Like you should have added that. The criticism does now becomes like it shifts from, well, we expected weapons and you didn't deliver on that, to now you should have had weapons and you didn't do enough for this price point. Like you boxed yourself in with that price point. If the DLC was only like $5-7, I think it would be like dismissible to be like, well, it didn't have that much content because it's like relatively cheap. So it's just like a little nugget of something so that they can recuperate some money and time and effort and give you more. But like I said, that price point is a little too high for what it had and how it actually interacted with the game, which was pretty much nothing besides like 2 bosses worth of content, which is not that much. Well, what else disappoints me in this game? Well, let's go back in time. The base game, after you finish it, has nothing. And you could say, well, it's a roguelike. You can play it over and over again. Yeah, but it doesn't give me any new rewards. It makes me play basically a gacha game. It is not like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro, Lies of P, hell, even like normal roguelikes where you'll get a linear progression of power. Even in roguelikes, you'll have unlocks to get you exponentially more power, and you have to find out like what matches with what so that you can just go woe be upon you and just blast like the boss with a Joe Biden blast. Elden Ring Nightreign takes nothing of that and ends up just being kind of a meh experience overall. Like I enjoyed my time there, and if the base game just stayed right there, I probably wouldn't be overall that mad and would be only slightly disappointed. But the problem is that I believed in them and then I paid them more money and they just didn't do anything. And obviously this is in hindsight, but like the price of like the content worth of it, it's like $40, right? The base game is $40. That is 4/6 of just a normal Elden Ring. That means it should have 4/6 the time or 4/6 the content. It does not. Okay, fair enough, it's a roguelike, they can expand upon it. Well, you had like the Everdarks, which were not really that great of an expansion because they just kind of increased the boss difficulty and just added a few new moves and went, yeah, that's fine, which is, that's okay. It was entertaining for a while, but it's not really something that's gonna grasp you. It's not enough content compared to like your contemporaries and your competition. So in the metric of fun for money, it was very disappointing. It was fun, I enjoyed it, but then it's like I would have said that this game is worth closer to like a $25 game or even a $20 game, worth about half the price, but it wasn't. It was overcharged like hell for what it actually gave you. And just going into like the actual gameplay to talk about why I was disappointed, when you try to get into more of the intricate mechanics, a lot of the game just basically says, nope, stop right there. You can't do that because we added a system that stops you. You want to get really powerful? Well, you have to rely on relics to do those builds. If you want to do a build, you have to basically slot machine it. Why? Instead of having characters have their own archetypes and unlocks that help them along the way as you upgrade, and not relics but permanent upgrades to the characters themselves, just like every roguelike in existence, they basically linked it to a gotcha mechanic. Well, that's fine. Well, how about the bosses? Well, the bosses get progressively harder and harder with no other mechanics to interact with besides the weaknesses, which will help you out a lot. But everything else is pretty much irrelevant. It's literally compounded by the fact that the director said that he was able to beat the game without relics, showing how irrelevant the relics can be sometimes. And in the base game, and even still to today, a lot of characters overlap in their archetypes where it's like person with a sword that's meant, or a weapon that's meant to tank, and they're supposed to be the melee character that can tank. Wilder, Raider, and Guardian can basically all fit the roles interchangeably, and there's no reason why you would ever pick Guardian or like Raider unless you're doing solo runs. You'll just pick Wilder because he has better movement. He has a better ult than both of those. He has just a really nice move set. He can he can dodge like a death blow. Like everything that he has is just better than everyone else. So even in the beginning of the game, it was terribly imbalanced, and it just got way more imbalanced now. They tried to do more balance changes to help you, but the problem is that they don't want to give you enough. Like that's the problem. They don't give enough to where it's fun, where you can sit back and enjoy it with your friends. They want to try to keep the soul audience, but then that pushes out the rogue audience. And if they go for the rogue audience, they're going to push out the soul audience, which they're not picking either or. They're trying to take both. But what ends up happening is that they pick both of the worst mechanics possible, where they're going to fight each other. Like I said, with just the Everdarks, they were just trying to make these bosses harder, but they didn't give you anything. Like some of the rewards were really good, but sometimes they were just really bad. Like it's about a 50-50 split. And the problem with that is that if you're going to do that as your base and you keep on trying to get higher and higher, you hit a ceiling almost immediately because you're not expanding it either which way. You have a little containment, and then you try to go up or down. You're hitting that, you got to open it up so that you can be free. And I do know that they had like limitations with resources, but they didn't need to really do anything too crazy. Just open up more relic slots. They did that with Deep of Night, but they could have just transferred that over to normal stuff, where Deep of Night goes with the normal relic slots, where to do Deep of Night and get more relic slots, you have to do like a level 5, reach a level 5 and complete it, and then you earn 1 per that completion run, and then you have to go back and do another rounds for 5. This would make it to where you have that extreme challenge, but then you can upgrade your character permanently instead of just being Deep of Night. It's separate by itself. The deep relics, the 6 slots, that's only for that. I wish it was better, and like people bring up like it's still doing well. The thing is, I don't know for how long, because it's like I don't think it's gonna last overall that long, because it's pulling similar numbers to just normal Elden Ring, which is in like the 40Ks per day. And it's at 70K, which if a single player game is doing that to you by the same like company, you may be dipping by it. And what's odd is that they have very similar dips as well. Literally, if we go into like the Elden Ring Nightreign Steam chart, like you see that they have around like they're reaching 40s, they're reaching 30s, they're reaching 40s. They can sometimes get 50s, right? Sometimes they can reach 70s, right? And this is just like 24 hours peaks for like a week. You go into Elden Ring, it's pretty much like the same thing. Like your single player game is doing pretty much the same numbers as your like multiplayer live service game. Like you know how bad it is for like a single player game to outcompete like your multiplayer like live service cooperative game, right? But I think all of what I said leads into like a lot of disappointment, not only with myself, but like not where I shouldn't say them. But all the stuff that I let out makes it into where I'm just really disappointed in how they handled it, because it could have been better, and I wish that they would give more resources. I don't blame anybody really there. I think that they had to do what they had to do. They didn't have enough time, or they had to basically move around and shift whatever for whatever. But like, just give the game more time. Like, this thing could be a very big money printing machine. Like, if you didn't, like, it feels like the DLC was rushed. If you didn't rush it and gave them more people, that could have made not only a lot more money, but be one of the best things that could have happened to the game. If you didn't rush a lot of things in the base game, I think a lot more people would play it almost daily. Hell, even Binding of Isaac is doing like similar numbers where like they can consistently get like 20k people a day, and this is going for like, this is being like a 10-year plus game. They had enough time, they had enough people, they could have just did better. And that's why I am disappointed, and I wish it was better. And the sentiment, I'm not alone in a lot of the times where it's like, there's a problem with this, there's a problem with this, there's a problem with this. Like, one of the biggest things that I said was like the relic mechanics just being gotcha. It's like, and there being like a rampant cheating problem with that. It's because you don't have anything else to do. I don't want to waste like 12 hours of my life just to get one relic. Like, in Binding of Isaac, I waste an hour to unlock multiple things. I don't want to play RNG roulette. I rather have something that I can unlock 100% if I do these actions. I don't want there to be contradictory mechanics. I don't want it to be just bombastic bosses where it's just theatrical stuff. I want it to be fun, and I want it to have me play time and time again. And I tried. I was like, I'm being too hard. Let me go back to it. And then 20 minutes in, I'm like, I don't feel fun. I don't, like, the fun dried out. But anyways, my name is TRG. I'm just a guy that plays games while being lame. Like, I'm such a fanboy for like From Software, but this one just let me with like something where like, if I feel empty when after I completed it, I didn't have anything. Like, I was just, that's it, nothing. But yeah, tell me what your guys' thoughts are. Obviously, you can disagree. Like, please do. I know that there's like, it can reach like 70 players like max, which is like their higher stuff. But like, yeah, like I said, I don't think that it's gonna be like, I think like within a year, it's just gonna like have its players number crash, and it's gonna be just like Elden Ring, where it's like, it's more akin to a single player game where it's like, once it's done, nothing ever is going to happen with it again, which is sad because it could have taken a different route. But I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be Poppy Playtime. I'm going to edit that real quick. I still have a lot to do with 6 hours of footage. See you guys there.